I would like to welcome everyone to this exclusive interview that can only be seen here on WU Online. My guest at this time is the son of the king of old school, Steve Corino, and on October 28th, he will be defending the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship against Joe Alonzo at NWA Samane. Please welcome the current NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, Colby Corino. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me on tonight. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty okay. Just having wrapping up a nice long day, productive around the house. Not too much to talk about though.
Yeah. I thought I would begin with just a light question, nothing too deep. I noticed you have a tattoo on your back that is in Japanese, and I believe it was your first tattoo. So I was wondering if you could tell me what the meaning behind it was and why you picked your spine for the location.
Oh, that's a wonderful question I've actually never been asked before.
Oh,
I would
wow.
love to. So you're right. It was my first tattoo. I got it when I was 16, and it's the Japanese kanji for from top to bottom, happiness, courage, wisdom, and power.
Okay.
And I chose that spot because I might have been a huge Tyler Black slash Seth Rollins fan, and really like the way that tattoo looked on him. So as soon as I could get a tattoo, I wanted one like that, and I chose those meanings because I'm also a big nerd, and it's actually the Triforce in Legend of Zelda is courage, wisdom, and power. So I
Okay.
wanted those three things, and then happiness on top of all that.
Okay. How many tattoos do you have?
Um, a lot. Too many that I lost count. Probably like 30 something.
Oh, goodness. Do you plan on getting any more?
Oh, 100%. I always want to get a lot more,
Mhm.
but it's just like, I can't. I feel like I can never justify spending a lot of money on that when I have like a small child. Like, I feel selfish like spending all that money on me rather than him or my wife or something that we need around the house. Just being an adult, that's what gets away with everything fun.
Yeah. Um, I mentioned your father, Steve, earlier, and I was wondering what it was like growing up with having your dad as having an original ECW member on the roster as your dad.
Um, it's hard because like I never really had anything to compare it to. It was just normal to me, like having to go on all these trips every weekend and like meeting all these people and traveling all the time and seeing my dad bleed out in high school gym and armories. It became very normal to me. And maybe that's the reason why I'm the way I am nowadays. And who am I to say? But it's just kind of like I didn't really have anything else to compare it to. Like it was just my normal, and it was like, and it's kind of like happening the same way with my kid too. And it's like I always like I'm definitely not raising him in a normal way. Like he definitely doesn't have a normal life, but it's just about making sure that he's happy and he just enjoys the time he's having, regardless of if it's considered normal or not. As long as he's being raised well and he's got everything he needs and he's happy, like you know.
I saw it the other day. He attended his first math psychology class.
Yeah, I'm saying he's like happy and safe as he just lost three teeth from falling. But yeah, it was actually on we took apart the ring to be able to clean under it and like sweep and clean out the school because we had a show coming up. So the ring was like disassembled and put off the side, and he was playing on the disassembled parts.
Mhm.
And he slipped and busted his face on the metal pole.
Oh,
So
ouch.
yeah, now he's got three less teeth.
Oh,
But
goodness.
luckily they were just baby teeth. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, it was just a lot of pain for him at the time,
Yeah.
and pain for me watching him in the hospital. But we're not going to talk about that. I got to be tough.
When did you know you wanted to be a wrestler?
I went to my first ECW show when I was 3 weeks old.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I've always been around wrestling my whole life, and like maybe like in the back of my head, I always knew that like one day I would be a wrestler. But it
Mhm.
wasn't until I was like 12 years old and I went to a Ring of Honor HD Net taping back when they were doing that, and it was one of my first, my dad's first shows back at Ring of Honor, and I remember watching a match. It was David Richards in the ring, and like I watched him wrestle, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to wrestle like this dude. I want to be exciting. I want to hit hard. I want to like present this exciting style of wrestling that's not like this old school like the it's not just a soap opera, you know.
Yeah.
And you know the soap opera parts are very important to wrestling. I love me some soap opera parts, but like I want the excitement. I want the fireworks show there too, you know. And
I get.
going to that Ring of Honor tape, it was like the first time that I saw that, I was like, this is what I want to do in my life.
Um, I'm sure a lot of people think since your dad was a wrestler, that's who trained you. Is that the case? Was he your trainer, or did you go to a school?
He was not my trainer, and I actually didn't go to a wrestling school at all. So I was trained primarily by Mike Keener, but he was one of the original ECW refs, and he was one of my dad's travel partners too. So when we would travel, like it would be my dad, Keener, and me. And my dad would usually step back, but like before every show, every single show without fail, me and Keener would get in the ring, and he would teach me how to wrestle. And a lot of the times, I would wrestle that night. Like I got my first match with very little training, or what I consider my first match at 12 years old. Like I had
Oh,
matches when I was 4 and 5, but I don't consider the my first match at like 12 was like when I was like, all right, I have to like do things actually, you know, like I have
mhm.
to know what I'm doing out there. And like from then on was the like when I considered like I started my wrestling career, and it was a lot of just learning on the go and learning before shows and on the road.
Mhm. You stated you didn't necessarily want the soap opera. How do you decide, this is the kind of wrestler I want to be? Is it from what you watched as a fan or practice, or how does that happen?
It's not that I don't like the soap opera. Don't get me wrong. It's just I I feel like it needs to just be balanced with the excitement, and you need the hard hitting and aggressiveness and the cool stuff happening to keep going on. But I'm sorry. Well, I got so messed up. What was the original question?
How do you go about deciding what type of a wrestler? Like, um, how do you decide I want to be a hardcore wrestler or a high flyer or a technical?
Okay. So I feel like it's a big deciding on looking at the wrestling landscape and seeing what it needs out there, because there's 500 wrestlers out there who do a springboard cutter and to do all these like the moves that everyone can do, a Canadian destroyer and a Spanish fly and all this stuff, you know. Like I tell my wrestling students all the time that I could teach a monkey how to do all these moves, but I can't
Yes.
teach them how to emotionally invest people and how to like, just the finer aspects of professional wrestling. So I really feel like it's just kind of like looking at the environment that you're in and deciding what that environment needs, because you could go to one territory and none of the guys do hardcore matches. And you're like, well, I can do some hardcore matches. I could be the hardcore guy here. And like, I kind of feel like that's what happens in North Carolina. Like a lot of people look at me like I'm this big deathmatch hardcore guy, but I feel like I'm just maybe the guy in North Carolina who does them the most for big promotion, you know. So I get that rep, but like but by far my most of my matches are just regular matches.
Mhm. When you debuted with Ring of Honor, you were part of the decade. What was it like to be with such legendary men as BJ Whitmore, Jimmy Jacobs, and Hangman Adam Page?
These are the guys that like I looked up to growing up, and like specifically like BJ and Jimmy Jacobs with their crazy matches that they had back in Ring of Honor. And Jimmy Jacobs has always, in particular, has always been like a huge influence on me. So it was so like what's the word, like it was real exciting for just to be involved with these people that I saw as like the all-time greats. And then we had people like Hangman Adam Page now, who's one of the biggest stars today. And he was just finding his footing back then in Ring of Honor. This was before he was even a Hangman. He was just regular Adam Page back then, you know? And even back then, like everyone knew that he was just earmarked for greatness though, too. And he's one of the nicest guys out there. It was, like I just maybe nice, besides the fact that they made me carry the bucket around. That bucket was a gigantic rib on me, I swear, because the bucket didn't fit in any bag or anything. So when I
Okay.
went to the airport and stuff, I had to walk with my bags and the bucket. Everyone would see this bucket everywhere I went. So yeah, like they made the bucket specifically too big to fit in any bags, so that you would have to carry it specifically. But besides that, he was great, very nice.
What did you like best about Ring of Honor?
I think it was just being there and being involved in Ring of Honor, because that was the wrestling that I grew up watching. And like some of my favorite matches that have ever happened in Ring of Honor, like Tyler the Black slash Seth Rollins, whatever you want to call him right now, versus Davey Richards. One of my favorite matches of all time, Roderick Strong versus Eddie Edwards, Kevin Steen versus El Generico. I have this whole list of matches that is just my favorite. So, and I remember a few weeks ago on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, I saw this thread of the roster page from Ring of Honor of every year, and I was on that roster for 3 years.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, I know that's exactly what I said too. I was like, wow, I was around for that long, and like that made me feel real good. It made me feel like I was part of history, and I got to be part of like a company that I grew up watching. And yeah, when I grew up and I started wrestling, like I knew I wanted to wrestle in Ring of Honor, and I got to do that.
That's gotta be awesome.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
in November 2016, you were announced to go to New Japan, but unfortunately something happened. Would you mind explaining why that was canceled?
Yes. So in December of 2016, I overdosed on heroin, and when they came to revive me, I had all my drugs around when because I just passed out when I overdosed. So they revived me and then arrested me. So then I got arrested. I spent a few weeks in jail, and New Japan they canceled my contract because they don't want a drug addict. It was very fair to them, not trying to be like, oh my goodness, these
Yeah.
people. Like, no, like. That's exactly what I would have done in that circumstance too. You know, it's I had a very big problem, and like I wish I could say that was the end of the road, but even after that, I still messed up and I got arrested a few more times. But now we're at a point where like I'm coming up on almost 6 years clean. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And it's not like one of those things that like I try to like I think about, and it's like it's not a cloud over my head anymore. Like I just feel like a regular person that's living a life, but it's always like something that you can never forget because that's when it's gonna creep in again, you know?
Yeah. Um, as someone I guess you're always recovering. I guess some people say. Um, I've heard of addicts that say they're afraid to like get pain medicine if they hurt themselves. With you being in an industry where you do hurt yourself, are you one of those type of people, or do you know what I'm trying to ask you?
Yeah, like if a doctor like prescribed me something, would I take them kind of?
Yeah.
Um it's kind of like a case by case basis. Not on like a normal thing, like if I got my wisdom tooth taken out, no, I don't need that. I can make do with ibuprofen and Tylenol. I think they work wonders on my body. But like if I'm in the hospital and like my arm snaps and I'm unconscious and they need to give me morphine to work on me, I don't think I'm going to pass that up.
Yeah,
But it's not like a I don't if a doctor is going to directly give it to me, I think I'd be okay with it. But I don't want to be in control of having any pills or anything, or I don't want to leave that up to chance.
understandable. Um, you said that in 2021 when you talked about your the anniversary of your incident, that you had burned a lot of bridges, but you had worked your ass off to get where you are today. Where do you currently stand with New Japan, and do you think you'll ever be able to work with them?
Well, I couldn't tell you where I stand with them, unfortunately. I don't think they really want to talk to me all that much right now. But what I can say is that a few weeks ago, I got to wrestle Rocky Romero,
Mhm.
and if for anyone that's in the know, Rocky Romero is basically like the American ambassador for New Japan. He does a lot of the communication and like office stuff between them because he's very trusted by the Japanese office.
Mhm.
So he's a and when I got my deal, he was one of the people that put his name on me and helped me out. So when I wrestled him, I was able to apologize to him, and I was able to, try to make those rights wrong. And like, I made sure that I was clear that I'm not trying to get a job because I'm not even sure if I could go there. Like, I'm contracted with the NWA,
Yeah.
so but person to person, like I felt like I wronged him, and I didn't want him. I just needed a man to man apologize to him.
Mhm.
So hopefully there's no bad blood, but I'm not sure you'll see Colby Corino and JPW ring anytime soon. As much as I would love to see that happen.
Well, maybe it will. Um,
Fingers crossed.
yeah. Um, you would go on to create a stable called the Ugly Ducklings. That's a very unique name for a stable. How did you come from? And how did you come from? How did that name come from? And what do you remember about this time period?
So the Ugly Ducklings was me, Rob Killjoy, and Lance Lude, and also we had our manager, Coach Mikey.
Mhm.
And the way that we all came together, we were wrestling for this company that's now defunct, PWX in North Carolina, and we were all just thrown together in a dark mat and 6-man tag match. So like before the cameras even started rolling, we just went out there. They let us go out there with the crowd and warm the crowd up, and we did really good. The crowd really liked all of us as a team. So PWX brought us back the next month, and they let us onto the main show that time. And at that point, like I think the fans like started not begging for us, but like they're like, you know what, we want to see the Ugly Ducklings on every show. So it was kind of like one of those things where like the fans kind of like were like forced the company's hands to book us, and the Ugly Ducklings name came because like we're just three dudes that no one really wanted at the time, and like and maybe one day we'll grow up into the beautiful swans, and yeah, so um, but then we it was a great time, and Rob still wrestles today. He's now the Ugly Sucklings with White Mike, and yeah, Lance is taking some time off from wrestling, but maybe we'll get an Ugly Ducklings reunion one day down the line.
You probably have a duck. Blah, blah. You probably have quite. I was trying to make a joke. I don't know where I was going with that. Let's just move on. I have some dignity. In March 2022, you married your wife, Ariana. How did you two meet, and what did she think about you being a professional wrestler?
So she actually just made a cameo walking through. But we met at our hometown. Shoot, like so we actually go back way before because my best friend was my best friend had a little sister and she was best friends with my best friend's little sister. So like we were always like in each other's orbit.
Mhm.
But then after high school, like we had a job together, and that's kind of where we came together. And like Ari always knew about wrestling because it was around before her, but she met me like during that when I was like just starting to ramp up again after like all my troubles. So I don't think she like realized like how seriously it all was and stuff. So then like when the traveling like picked up real fast and stuff, she was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa!" But it, she came with me for a lot of shows, and she traveled the country so many times with me up and down. Probably put more miles on the road than a lot of my wrestling students have.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, she was really supportive, and nowadays she's able to sit back with our son and relax at home a little bit while I take people out and my wrestling students out and to the shows. But it's always just kind of been part of our life, you know.
Hmm.
There's no Colby Corino without pro wrestling.
Yeah. You now find yourself in the role that your dad did. You're a husband, you're a father. And a wrestler. What is that role like?
Um, it's a I love it. I love it. I wouldn't want to anywhere else in the world. It's just it's awesome always having people to come home to. It's awesome. Like, you know, it feels like I always have my friends around me. Like I couldn't imagine being a single man now. And I always get so scared. Like I tell my friends all the time who are single, I'm like, man, I don't think I could date in 2023. Like it's so scary out there. Like I don't know how they do it. Like I'm very thankful I have my wife and my son, and I wouldn't pass them up for the world. Like they're my rocks and my stability in this crazy industry that's professional wrestling. Like like I was talking earlier about not being normal, but they're like what provides me the biggest sense of normalcy I have, and I really appreciate that because my life is so crazy and off the wall otherwise that like having such a stable home life is super important to me.
What do you like best about being a dad?
Um, well, I like watching my kid develop like his own little personality and like seeing him grow up. Like I always got like anxious when my kid was like a baby because
Hmm.
I'll just set him up in in like one of the swings. I'll give him his bottle and hold him, and then it'd just be like, well, now what? Like, what do you do? But now, like he's like 4.5 years old now, so yeah, he has his own little interests. He has these things that he likes to play with. He has a big imagination, so and he has things he likes. He has things he doesn't like, and you know, so like every day is just like hanging out with one of my friends. It's like, well, what do you want to do today? And it's cool. It's cool. It's 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 very rewarding watching my kid grow up and learn and just be his own little person.
I have to say, I was looking at your Instagram when I was making these questions, and one of the most beautiful pictures I saw was I think it was a few days after he was born, and you're sitting in the middle of the ring, and all the lights are off, and you're just sitting Indian style on the mat holding your son. And that is, if you don't have that already printed out on the wall, you should.
Yeah, we just got a new place, so we're decorating. Maybe I need one of those up on the wall. I just put up all these posters behind me for my streaming setup. So we're getting there. I definitely have to print that one out. We have a bunch of family pictures in the living room. Not that we don't have any pictures of me and my son together. It's just not that one specifically.
um, Earlier this year, it was reported you were going to sign with WWE. Um, can you explain what happened that caused the signing not to take place?
I think it was just a really bad time. Like I did get an offer from WWE to work there, and things look good. And they gave me a background check, and unfortunately, my background check's a lot longer than most people's. So they do like one of the like they told me it's the same background check the FBI uses.
Oh,
So
wow.
it took 6 weeks for mine to come back because it was so long, and they had to check out all these different these cases and stuff. And by the time that they did come back, they were in the process of selling the company to Endeavor. So that because they were doing that, there was a corporate hiring freeze. So they told me that like I was able to wait or not wait. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it is my biggest source of income. And when I left NWA at the beginning of January to pursue the WWE opportunity, like I lost my major source of income, and I was turning down indie bookings because I wanted to preserve my body and not hurt myself before I went to WWE. So as soon as they said that it was going to be a while, I was like, well, I mean, like I could get another job, like a regular job, but I'm not a very skilled person. Like I've been a wrestler my life. Like wrestling is
Yeah.
where I make the most money out of everything. So it was then started looking for other options, and that's when I decided on NWA because NWA is one of the only places outside of AEW and WWE that a wrestler can make a living for his family.
I kind of look at you like you're the face of the NWA. Um, even though you're not the world champion. Um, can you picture yourself with any company outside of NWA? I mean, I know you go to the other companies, but like AEW or Impact or WWE.
I don't know. I feel like NWA and Colby Corino go together very well. I feel like every company has their own style. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't put on the internet that I don't want to work for all these companies. But I think right now, me and NWA are a perfect fit. And maybe down the line, like I feel like that me and WWE are eventually, I'm always gonna want an action figure myself. I'm gonna want to bring my kid down the Walmart toy aisle and she'll be like, look, that's daddy right there. And um, until NWA can do that for me, like I feel like my destiny might always be with WWE one day.
When we talked about you returning to the NWA, and you became the number one contender for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship at Crockett Cup. You defeated uh Kerry Morton for the championship at NWA 75. Uh, how did you feel once the bell rung and you held that championship up?
Man, it was like explosion of a great feeling. I've been chasing that belt. Like the first time I challenged for that belt, I was 14 years old. I
Oh my
wrestled at
gosh.
when he was the champion. So when I'm 27 years old and I finally get it, it felt like a 13-year journey is like maybe not maybe or a 13-year chapter. How about not a journey? Because the journey is not over. But a 13-year chapter has finally come to the end, and we were able to close it and start the new chapter that is my reign, where I'm trying my best to set records. I've only held the title for just over a month now, and I have over 12, or not over. I have 12 defenses of the title. I have 4 more lined up for the month of October, and who knows what November's holding right now.
Is your ultimate goal the NWA World Championship?
Oh, 100%. That's the belt my dad held. So I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that that's where my destiny lies. Like I can't go anywhere else until I get the world's heavyweight championship.
As I mentioned earlier, you'll be defending your title against Joe Alonzo, who says he's Mr. NWA. And recently he posted a video where he was supposed to be you in a church praying. And he spoke about you, your dad, your family, and you replied to his video and stated, quote, "My family is not your promo material. And honestly, if that's how you have to promote matches, it's because you can't cut it in the ring." There were some replies that disagreed with your response. Do you still feel the same way?
Oh, 100%. I feel like if you're not creative enough to stay in the bounds of pro wrestling, it's because you lack something. And my dude's out here still doing springboard cutters, like we were talking about. He's just one of those dudes that just emulates the most basics of stuff. He can't excite people with what he does in the ring. So he's got to go on Twitter or go on Instagram, and he's got to make these videos. That he did the same thing for Homicide. So I don't know why anyone's surprised. Like this is what this kid does. He's a troll because he can't cut it in the ring.
Do you have any other comments you'd like to say to your challenger?
I just posted right before this interview went up. I actually posted a promo on there directly to him. So I will direct you to there and post it. The posted promo on my social media because man, like this dude was walking around NWA 75 in the locker room, and he was a Homicide wouldn't talk to him all day before they wrestled.
Oh gosh.
So he's walking around to the locker room asking everyone, "Is Homicide gonna beat me up? I think Homicide's mad at me." There ain't gonna be no doubt that I'm mad at him. There ain't gonna be no doubt that I'm gonna beat him up because I'm gonna tell you right now on this interview, you can make a nice clickbait headline that says Colby Corino is gonna beat Joe Alonzo's ass because that's exactly what's
Definitely.
gonna happen.
I will definitely do that.
Thank
Um,
you.
Earlier today, the NWA announced the revival of the territory system. What did you think when you heard the news?
I started thinking about how this is such a great thing for the NWA, and like how like I was just saying I'm a traveling champion trying to set records with my defenses. Like this is going to help directly with that. We're able to reach new markets, and you know, I feel like this is a perfect way for the NWA to expand a little bit. And by going back to the roots, what an innovative idea.
Before we close the interview, would you like to provide your fans with your social media links and any website?
Oh yeah, I got you. So on Twitter, you can follow me at Colby Corino. On Instagram, you can follow me at Colby.Corino because some little girl has stolen at Colby Corino and still trying to wrangle that out of her hands after years. You can go to my merch website at colbycorino.bigcartel.com. I produce all my merch myself. And my wife, I can't, she does a lot of the artwork for it, so I can't. Me and my wife produce a lot of my merch herself. But all of my t-shirts are handmade. I print them myself in my garage. I package all the orders myself. I do it all myself. Me
Goodness.
and my wife do it ourselves. She's gonna hear this. She's gonna give me some of this. But, um, and then after that, I just started streaming too. So if you like watching wrestling or playing video games, you can follow me at twitch.tv/Camp Corino.
Oh.
Campfire.
Well, I would like to thank the current NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion Colby Corino for joining me. I wish you continued success in your recovery, and I wish you very good luck in your upcoming match against Joe Alonzo for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship at NWA Samhain. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correct.
Darwin, I think that was pronounced.
Okay. On October 28th in Cleveland, Ohio. For more information, visit nationalwrestlingalliance.com. Thank you.
Thank you.